get violent. I know a lot of you have some questions. I have the answers on things, like the question coming from Norman Walkford 9426. Are you okay, Izzo? The last few videos, you've been bad-mouthing everything and everyone in Wing Chun. Just checking to make sure you're okay. Here's the problem. I don't believe in the martial arts community, and that's been on my experience, and it's been a load of shit since I've gotten involved with it. I've never seen any brotherhood in Wing Chun or martial arts in general. Now it's kind of a lie. There have been some select few that I've talked about it. There's some people that, you know, I've Lenny, Sly, clearly we patched things up, and I think we're closer than ever now. Clint, Sean, Casey, all the guys over in in Indianapolis, those amazing guys. Even there's some JKD guys across the country. The Ice guys over in California, Fight with Ice, Brandon. So I mean, there's some people, and I can name more. I'm going to forget some. I'm going to leave some out, right? Who are great. But when it comes down to the whole respect portion of the martial arts, I don't believe in that shit. It's never been the case. You've seen over the years, especially in the forums and the comment section, just because how I say something has always infuriated people. I'm loud, I'm opinionated, blah, 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 and people get so butthurt about that. I thought, I'll never forget it, and I did a video on this maybe last year before, where I showed the video I did in 2012 where I was praising Philip Redman. And then you advance, 10 years and you see Philip Redman just turn into a piece of shit, openly attacking me and going off at a drunken tirade in the middle of the night, insulting my Wing Chun online, and then talking all about Mo Duck, right? He's one of the biggest proponents of it. That lineage, I can't stand the William Chung lineage because I've never met a bigger set of backstabbing fucking losers in the Wing Chun community than the William Chung lineage. They will talk nice to you, and then when they're done, when they don't need you for anything, they will all come together like piranhas that the cow just went into the riverbed, and they'll all attack you. They're scumbags. The only one I said that I haven't experienced that with is Shannon Moore. Is what it is. So why would I lie about this stuff? I'm not out to make friends. I do not care. I don't do meetups. I don't go anywhere. I'm 50 years old. You want to challenge me and shit? Well, it's either going to be, hey, he's a 50-year-old man and you're going to see what you're going to see, or I'm going to embarrass the fuck out of you. I just don't care anymore. So I'm going to expose what I think is bad simply because I don't want people finding bad shit. I don't want people finding stuff that doesn't work. If you want martial arts for fitness, if you want martial arts for cinematography, anyone is good. Anyone is good. If you want Wing Chun specifically for combative purposes, then it's going to be a very few and far between. And I think that you need the people who are willing to say, this is shit. This is a horrible representation of the art. Stay away from it. And anybody, like if I highlight a teacher and I say this is garbage, the teacher shouldn't give a shit about my opinion. Should do theirs because I don't give a shit about theirs. They should move on and focus on what they're doing and just continue to believe in what they believe, even if it is a pile of fucking dog shit. Moving on today, I want to look at Kevin Lee takes on Wonder Boy and Seth. This is Wing Chun Savat versus big guys. I am a big fan of Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee did a podcast with us here, Them's Fighting Words podcast that we do on the channel. I want to watch this, and I don't expect to see Wing Chun, but Kevin Lee, I think, affords. I haven't seen him do it yet. I think Kevin Lee affords a shorter man's perspective on surviving the Wing Chun game from larger people. But it's always been my experience, Kevin always plays their game. So I want to see what he does in this. This is going to be clearly sparring. They got gloves on and they've got shin pads on. But I want to see where could Kevin Lee use the Wing Chun structure and superiority of that structure in a fighting context to survive, to properly represent the art, because I won't hide it. How many of you are in the comment section all the time? You say the same thing. I've yet to see Wing Chun work in a fight. I get it. Well, if you see it, it just doesn't, the good Wing Chun, you don't see. It looks sloppy, but it's effective. Bad Wing Chun is the movie shit, and it doesn't work at all. So we should go from there.
Kevin Lee before, so here we have Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee does Eskrima Kali, but mostly people know him for Wing Chun and Savat. So Oh, Sensei Seth goes in. Oh, look at, you see the savate kicks? Oh, I love this. Oh, Kevin Lee's my favorite. Oh, he just got kicked in the butt, like literally. So the way he throws his
I'm going to eliminate this for a second. If you look from the get-go, if I'm 5'7", and I'm not shitting on Kevin. I think he's my height, if not shorter. If I'm going to be in this position to take on energy of a bigger person, the one thing that I'm never going to do is I'm never going to stand bladed. In Wing Chun, you can stand staggered with your hips still pointed in the same direction. This is very important. Problem is when you stand bladed, you're compromising your ability to move more. A lot of people think, well, you know, you're forced. You're forced to do what everybody does, which is the hopping in, the kickboxing hopping in. Watch how they close the gap like everybody else does. They're just bouncing in. It's that shuffle step. It's that foot goes. In Wing Chun, when you do have a 50-50 stance, you can shuffle in, but you can also circle step in, and you can step right in. It's a more advantageous planting. The biggest danger, and I guess the most glaring thing you have to accept is you're going to eat punches, right? And when it comes to this, when you close the gap, the most dangerous place to be, in my opinion, the most dangerous place to be in a fight is where there's no contact, right? You hear a lot of martial arts talking about, well, there's five zones. You got kicking zone, then punching zone, then knee zone, then elbow zone, then clinch zone. Well, there's only one zone. It's contact zone. There is you and your enemy, and neither one of you has made contact, and then somebody or both makes contact. That could be a fist to your face, could be a grab, it could be a clinch, it could be whatever. But once contact is made, everything changes. Everything changes, and I think it's in a much, much better position for Wing Chun. So the problem is how do you initiate that initial contact, right? I've seen Casey fighting method. You know, you saw it in Batman where they have the head up like this. I think there's a lot of value in that to bridge the gap to protect yourself from wild strikes. But at the same time, as you watch this right here, I think this is Seth. I don't know who this is. I'm sorry. I don't want to miss it. But watch the front kick right to Kevin's chest, right to his center, and it just sends him right. Boom. There. I mean, that's it. That is all it takes. So how do we avoid that? How do we avoid that? Well, this is one of the other things too. Is this is an agreed competition, so you have to close that gap, right? You have to close that distance. If we're looking at it like with Wing Chun, if I'm going to move. Well, then what does that do? If once you start moving forward, you start picking a foot up off the ground, and that compromises balance. And then once balance is compromised, well, you get, boom. See, Kevin's foot, you're able to get knocked backwards. So because this is sparring and because this is an agreed upon fighting, Kevin is going to have to move in and close the distance. Otherwise, just sit there and wait for the guy to come to you. And then you are going to sit there and hold your position, and then whatever energy comes in, you're going to deal with it. I would have liked to see Kevin, but you can't. I don't know if you can speed up, and if he sped up, if right there's a anticipation of something coming in instead of blasting right in. Because if Kevin had come from this position and blasted right in, well then, I think this is Seth. I'm hoping it is. He's on one leg, which means his balance is compromised. So again, I talk about this all the time in Wing Chun. There's 3 stages to every attack: infancy, adolescent, and adult. This is the adolescent. This is the teenager attack. When the foot is just being lifted off the ground, that's the baby. This is the teenager. The adult is where Kevin gets hit. If Kevin bridged that gap, see right now this is full range. It's full power range for him to kick. Right? Full power range for him to kick in and make that contact. Let's watch it again. If he had come in, if Kevin saw this and then zoop, there's the baby right there, but Kevin stopped. And again, I'm just shitting on Kevin just for the sake of making, it's content. You know, Kevin does more work than I do, and he's more involved right now. He's more athletic, so I'm not going to give him shit. But at the same time, I'm critiquing because we're critiquing. But if he had gone right in, you take the power out of that. I would rather eat that punch, that kick there. Then here comes the attack. See, now Kevin is static. He's anticipating. In my opinion, it's not Wing Chun, right? Because we don't wait for attacks to come in. He who hesitates dies. Very simple. So he hesitated. Boom. You got tagged. So that's one thing. Now, all of a sudden, the Wing Chun goes out the window because now you got to resort to, I'm a shorter man, I got to use longer weapons. But now, if you look at Kevin, he's on one leg. No balance whatsoever. There's nothing. There's no structure whatsoever. We talking all the time about head over hips over feet. Well, look at his head. His head's over here, his hip's over here, and there's his foot, and there's another foot. So there's no structure whatsoever. So I know he's throwing stuff up to make it work, but at the same time, you know, I'm looking at this from a Wing Chun point of view. How could a smaller man have made this work in a fighting context? You got another big guy here. Kevin then goes back to set. There you go, starting to come in. I don't like that. I don't like that he was back, and then gets in and then kicks. Again, you take yourself off of boom. I want to step here for a second. You take yourself off of the balance game. You want to keep balance game. Now, I love this. This is where you can see Wing Chun lives in anti-grappling. If they decided to go to a takedown game, being that Seth is taller, it will be more difficult for him to drop to a lower level, like a single leg, a double leg, without Kevin being able to more easily counter, because you're then changing your structure as the big guy to defend. Kevin doesn't have to change his structure that much because he's shorter, right? So as a bigger guy, maybe you're going to stick to upper body, right? Underhook, overhook. It's going to be hard for you to do a hip toss underneath Kevin. He's got that low center of gravity. The anti-takedown for Wing Chun, because Wing Chun doesn't have an anti-grappling. Yes, it does. Grappling starts here. Here's the anti-grappling. Your structure has to remain intact. You have to focus on your structure. So Kevin's structure needs to be at places like this, where he's fighting the hands. Here's the hand. I wish they were not gloved up. He's going to hook in the elbow here. Instead of this, we need to start looking at the shapes of Wing Chun. Well, you have the Tan Sao, right? And everybody thinks Tan Sao is tag. If Kevin went from, what is this, like a, I don't know, that's a 45-degree angle, so that's got to be a 15-degree angle. If it's a 15-degree angle, Kevin went to 45, and then I keep talking about this. We need more snake in Wing Chun. A lot of us are focused on the crane. What does the snake do? The snake bites and constricts. Well, structure, sink in your hips, take this. Seth has a hole. You're worried about the arm here. Seth has an armpit, has a chest, has love handles. The snake, once it comes in, bites, and then it constricts. Why are we not grabbing at places on the human torso? And they can't with gloves, right? That's the problem. Why can't we grab where your pec meets your shoulder, grab in and constrict and twist and grab that flesh and pull, hold that structure? Why can't we do that to the love handles? Why can't we do that right to the male nipples? Why can't we do that to the side of the neck? Why are we avoiding the grab when it's everywhere? Tan Sao, Yun Sao, grab, chamber. Why are we not grabbing, twisting, and constricting more in Wing Chun? Why are we not doing that? It's one of the most overlooked thing in the entire system. When he's doing that, even in this position, I would like to see Kevin get in a more 45-degree angle, hips dug underneath him, because right now he's playing catch-up because he's getting moved around. Sink on that back leg a little bit more, hit those hips under, and then use that, the structure, to prevent any ability for Seth to clinch Kevin. Kevin's going to get tossed around. There's an underhook here. Somebody's got an underhook. Tan Sao. You're Tan Sao. And again, I get it, sparring. You don't want to hurt him. This is a great position. Stop grabbing back here. You can grab back here. If he didn't have gloves on, grab that lat, grab that love handle, squeeze the shit out of it, rip it. You want to cause trauma to it. And at the same time, you constrict, right? What does a snake do? Snake constricts. Well, as you've got that arm, constrict the arm. Trap it. Don't let it go anywhere. Pin it against your core while you're twisting. Pull it in. Trap them. Traps are not just pakda and all that stuff. It's a trap. You are trapping the arm. At the same time, opposite directions, the same energy. As he's pulling in the arm, you can pin it with your elbow and still move your body and torso into it. There's a lot you do in here. We just don't do it. It throws them off their game. It fucks with, it's pain. It's damn, it's like, because what do we do? And all the wrestling I watch too, they're not brutal. They're not brutal enough. They need to do more neckties where you're digging your thumb right into the mandible. They need to wind up going in for a crossface and taking that radius or ulna and just, I mean, I'm talking, come up. As you're going through, it needs to be pressure in, and you want to try to break their tooth line up here under their nose. You want to do so much damage, but there's not a lot of it in there. Even when you're grabbing for a takedown and you've got the back of the hamstrings, you need to grab those hamstrings on the insides of where your adductors are, that real sensitive flesh on the inside of your legs, and you need to dig your fingers in there and rip them. There's so much that we are not doing in Wing Chun when we always, in most fights, end up in this position, a body tie or a clinch. It's all the time. All right, when you're going to start exchanging this, you're going to start exchanging this. It's not going to do any damage. What is Kevin going to do coming up with a knee? He has no leverage going up there. If anything, you turn the knee to the side and you go down into his knee. But again, we're sparring. Let me just eliminate that. Let's just talk. We're fighting. Forget that it's sparring and they're being nice. He needs to wind up getting that elbow down and trapping his underhook that he's trying to attain, grabbing that fat content, digging the thumb into the ribs, trying to break the ribs, and opening him up as he goes. There's no power in this. You just get thrown. This position, if that was the case, you scoot right back in. You recover, you face, you go right back in immediately. He's trying to get distance, and the distance is not going to work. This is none of the tools as a shorter man will help him with somebody who is bigger than him as he's playing the bigger man's game. You have to get in. No, none of this is going to work. That's a tag. This is all tag. I got you. Yeah, I mean, this is for entertainment only. There's not going to be any benefit to this. And if this is, well, okay, so again, everyone knows I'm a fan of Kevin Lee, but the title of this is Wing Chun Savat versus Big Guys. Okay, so if we're saying this is Wing Chun, now all of a sudden you're shitting on the Wing Chun community. It goes back to the commenter, why am I so, ruthless on everything? This sucks. This is bullshit. Somebody came across this. They saw Kevin Lee as a Wing Chun master. Now they're watching this and they're going, oh, see, Wing Chun doesn't work. That's why I'm so fucking hard on this, because this is wrong. You can't. You need to retitle this video, Smaller Man versus Larger Man Kickboxing, because that's what this is. There's no Wing Chun in this whatsoever. In this point, too, here's the head. I am a very big, if you've ever seen me coach wrestling or if you've ever been coached by me, you know I am big on taking that head and on your opponent's head. I want your head in the eye socket of there, and I want you to push into them. I want you, if you have the hand anywhere on them, the back of the head, underhook, I want you to try to take their nose. If you're in this position, if you are in a tie-up with somebody, a lot of people go head, the point of the forehead to the point of the forehead. I want you to take your head and dig it into an eye socket and try to take their nose and break it on the other side. I want that structure. I want you to come in, hook, and try to snap it. You take your neck and you snap it into their nose. Or I want you to dig it into their jawline, into their carotid artery, into their temple. I don't want forehead to forehead, and I never want in a clinch position. Seth is almost doing it. Seth needs to turn his head into Kevin and grind his ear. You need to give him cauliflower ear. Right there, you need to start taking the forehead and dig it into his ear. Kevin needs to do the same thing. That's how he's going to get out of it. It's like, okay, you're not going to get leverage. You have no power. Your stance is completely compromised. You need to, instead of turning away at and resting on his shoulder like a pillow, you need to turn right in his ear And you need to dig. You need to start like, what is that? Like the Hippocrates had. Hippocrates, is that it? Yeah. The bowl, and then they had the thing they ground up the herbs with. You need to grind that ear until there's nothing left. Yeah. The chin too. Chin, dig down into there, into a soft part of the body. Yeah, there's no Wing Chun in this. There's no structure. This is kickboxing, and this is just, everyone's ragdolling Kevin around because he's shorter. Can't play that reach. This is not Rocky versus Drago. Let's see what this is. A little bit more MMA. Okay. All right. There you go. Maybe Kevin learned from the first time where he's going to go right in for a takedown. You don't wait. I never liked that. I mean, I get it. It's a fight and they're sportsmanlike, but you just made contact. So this is why Kevin had an easier time shooting for the takedown, because even when you do a high five, acknowledging that you're going to be sparring or fighting, you know where the person is. You've just measured your distance. That's a successful, akin to like a jab or the Mansao hand in Wing Chun, asking hand right there. Boom. See what he did? That was perfect. Kevin, outstanding. That's a Wing Chun principle. He wound up making contact. He just felt where he's at. He made the mistake of waiting last time, and then boom, right in. Again, the older I get, I don't like takedowns. I like anti-takedowns. He's going to shoot. Great, shoot. But again, he's dealing with a taller guy. His head is on the inside. Okay, he's got a single. I would trip behind. Okay, where do we go? Oh, I must have done something. Sorry. Let's watch that again. He goes in for a single. Hooks the leg. When you're doing this as well, too, if you're wrestling, thumb up underneath on that, on the inside of the leg, dig it into you. Take your head into their ribs. You need to dig into their ribs. You pull and extend them at the same time. Okay, he gives up the single. I got it. Whizzer. Now they're going into BJJ. If you're in this position too, now I have no BJJ experience, right? So it's like, what would I do? I'm going to look for shit, to be honest. It's like, all right, what would I do? I don't know any of the BJJ moves. I don't know what I'd be giving them. So if he's sitting on the hand, if I can get that free, I'm going right to check his oil. I'm taking all my fingers. I am going to pretend I'm German for the day, and my entire hand is going up his rectum to get him to change his state. At the same time, I don't know what's allowed in BJJ. I'm going to try. I want to take my thumbs. I want eyes. I want right there in the throat. I want ribs. And I understand, and this is where a lot of you guys are going to start talking about the moves and whatnot. I'm going to be giving them something that they can work with. But the point is to change the state a little bit, right? Grabbing testicles, sticking an entire fist up someone's ass, even fish hooking them is going to throw them out of their game, so maybe I get a nanosecond to get the heck out of there. That's all I'm looking to do. I'm not looking to play the BJJ game because I don't know it. This is where I would bite. This is where I would be like, all right, I don't wet my pants to get them to leave. So in this, I don't like this. All I want to do is I want to find one, and because I know he's giving him positions, and every time you move an arm, or a leg, it's going to give the BJJ guy position to utilize that against you. So how do we cheat? How are we come up, rip an ear, try and pull an ear off? Remember, violence is all I care about. Here, my hand, gotta go right up his ass. Right, I'd be reaching up that, grabbing those peaches. Yeah, again, I don't know what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do. So he gets back up. Again, you can't play this game with this. You have to take a second to pause. Yeah, when he's coming in, there's your tools. You can't shoot from out there. There's no established contact first. Blind shots like that don't work. That leg, that kicking that you're doing is not going to work. There you go. Okay, there you go. He gave that to you. Now, if we're there, Now we have to start going, let's just pretend this is a real fight and Kevin's losing. Now we have to get ruthless. Kevin's going to get down. Kevin's going to sit there, bite on the inside of the thigh where he's at, pull that up. Then he's going to take his head and he's going to try, when the guy bends over in the pain, smash his friggin' face up into the back of his head. You need to start getting really creative because you're getting your ass kicked at this point. How does my Fan Sao Wing Chun continuation of strike live in these circumstances? Goes in for the shot. Boom. Okay, right there. Forearm, you want to get it, man? I'm going to start biting your forearm. I got him. I'm going to start pull that in. At the same time, scoop that leg up. Good. Good. Start dragging him back. Start walking him backwards, man. Make him hop. No, walk him backwards. Stretch him out. No, I don't like that. You're already at a disadvantage. You already lost that one. Oh, okay. No, this wasn't Wing Chun. I don't like this. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier, like when you ask why I'm so ruthless about stuff, is because somebody is going to watch this video and they're going to go, man, Wing Chun doesn't work. When I know specifically that Kevin Lee is a phenomenal ambassador of the Wing Chun game. He is. So he's one of the things that I've criticized Kevin about this last year and a half, 2 years, is that he's too nice. You see the man smiling when he's sparring. He's having Kevin is what I'm not. He represents the martial arts community. He represents the Mo Duck. He represents the kindness of it. I fucking don't care. I have no desire to fit in this culture. But with him, he's just so nice. And you see that he compromises a lot of what he's doing for this. If Kevin is going to play this game, the gloves come off. Kevin needs to sit there and understand there's going to be a distance issue, and he needs to close that gap, stay on both feet, keep his center completely covered as he's going straight in like he did, and once he's in, the game has to change to constricting and biting. The snake, it is a constricting game, it is a biting game. The snake bites, and then once it ties something up in a trap, it constricts. And that's where the elbow energy is going to come in, right? You've seen it in the forms. All right, boom, boom. Jump Sao position. That jump Sao comes in, right? That the turning punch, boom, and boom, and boom. What are we doing when that elbow's coming down? Well, you get an elbow arm trapped, you're coming in, you're constricting around something. You can all visualize it. Arm comes in, you're going to trap on the outside. Yun Sao. The Yun Sao to come in. Everything is a snake. It's not just the dart of the head as a punch. It's the constricting of the snake, the biting of the snake, the cutting off of the flow of blood, the causing of the pain. It's like a snake bites, all of a sudden everything swells, right? Because you got the poison in them. You need to bite, and you need to wind up tearing that skin, that flesh, that body fat, that muscle. Get where your thumb can get in by the ribs. Dig in, find a space, and cause that pain. Go up underneath the ribs, try to pull them out. Everything you can do. Go up underneath the jaw, try to pull it out. We limit Wing Chun to complete just punching. And I told you, when I went back to wrestling, it wasn't, I do Wing Chun and I wrestle. It is, oh my God, Wing Chun is superior to the anti-takedown once you understand it's okay to have my arms occupied in a clinch, in a tie-up, in an underhook, in an overhook. My Wing Chun still exists. If somebody has an underhook and you still have elbow energy. Somebody has an overhook on you. You still have elbow energy. You're in a tie-up. You still have jump Sao elbow energy. It all lives there. But all we do is focus on the punch, and all we see is the displays of this that make Wing Chun look bad. So this was not Wing Chun. I have a problem with the title. I wish that again, this is why, because I can't change what they're going to title this video. It's going to get clicks and views, and you're going to get people, see, Wing Chun sucks. I will come to defend Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee knows what Wing Chun is. He's extremely, extremely good at it, but there was no Wing Chun in this whatsoever. So it's very informative. And like the commenter said, this is why I'm shitting all over it, because this is a bad representation of our art. Do not forget, go to patreon.com, Izzo Wing Chun, become a member. Join our great martial arts training hall. We will go over this type of content. You can go watch the one that we did. It is uploaded to the channel. If there is not what do you call it on the YouTube channel where you got the categories, or there's a playlist. Great martial arts training hall where you could see the stuff we've done. We would love to have you on it, where we could check these videos, have conversations, unlike the forums where people are just blindly angry Kermit typing away and you mistranslate somebody's message via text because it's in your own fucking head and you're like, I hate you, and like we've all done. Guys, I appreciate you all. Let's get the more that you understand and train the martial side of martial arts, and the more you understand the violence, the more that you love it and you respect it, and it is used properly for health, wellness, and self-defense. So I appreciate you all. Have a great damn day, and I'll see you on the next video.